Vince Vaughn's about to get freaky. Freaky! Released in 2020 and is directed by Christopher Landon, who has also directed such films like Burning Palms, Paranormal Activity: The Marked Ones, Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse, Happy Death Day, and Happy Death Day to You, which explains a lot because this film felt like a side sequel to the Happy Death Day franchise. Same style. And this film is starring Vince Vaughn, Catherine Newton, Katie Finneran, Celeste O'Connor, and Alan Ruck. And the reason why we're talking about Freaky today is because it was a PayPal recommendation from one of my biggest supporters on this channel, Autumn Blood. You strike again. You're just always there, and you keep giving me donations and recommendations that I'm just having to enjoy watching. And I love getting a chance to watch all these films that I have missed, because I heard really good things about this movie last year. Just never got around to watching it because, 2020, some shit went down that year. There are several news reports going around town that there is a serial killer in the midst known as the Butcher, who is going around killing a bunch of teenagers. But this is a horror slasher film, so of course we get one teenager all by herself by the name of Millie Kessler, who comes in contact with the Butcher. But just before the Butcher strikes his fatal blow, the spiritual knife that he is holding causes a spell to take place, and Millie and the Butcher's consciousness swap places. So the Butcher wakes up the next day in Millie's body, discovering that he is now a teenage girl, and Millie wakes up in the Butcher's body, disgusted and scared out of her mind in figuring out where she is at. So now Millie has 24 hours to find the dagger and to find her actual body and reverse the spell, or else they'll be stuck in these bodies forever. Yeah, you gotta give a timetable on this type of thing, because if you don't, really, you just go on doing whatever you want. So I don't think that this film had the right to be as good as it was. Because this Freaky Friday type concept, it's the freaking title of Freaky Friday, this consciousness swapping type thing, it's been done before, it's been done to death, we've seen this thing before. We've seen it in comedies like crazy. Heck, go back and look at the filmography of Rob Schneider. Half of that is the mistaken identity, brain swapping type storyline. Now, Rob Schneider is a kindergarten girl. He's about to find out just how hard it is to be a little girl. Essentially, that is this movie. But this movie just elevates it, tremendously, and puts in a little bit of the horror slasher genre. So why was this so good? I think this film just has a certain air about it and a certain gravitas because Vince Vaughn is playing the main character. Or at least Millie when her brain is swapped. The body's the Butcher, mind is Millie, so Vince Vaughn is playing Millie, basically. Almost the whole time. And whenever you do a brain-swapping film like this storyline, it is very easy for actors to get into kind of character-y, shticky type performances, kind of making fun of the other person that their consciousness are swapped with. Vince Vaughn could have easily played at being a teenage girl. And I think at first he kind of was, but as the film went along and as the scenes went along, you can tell that he's settling into playing the idea of a teenage girl a lot more truthfully and a lot more honestly, and he has a great performance here as Millie. I think the stereotypical thing to do here for Vince Vaughn was to raise his voice because, oh my god, I'm being a girl, I'm a teenage girl, ah! He doesn't do any of that. He keeps his voice the same as it always is. You wouldn't be forcing your voice to go up here because women have higher voices, typically. No, you would just talk like a regular person, regardless of your gender or sex. So I appreciate that choice, and I think, really, Vince Vaughn's performance here is pretty much a class act. And I think Catherine Newton did a really good job of just being just cold and being just emotionless in her face. I think it suffered a little bit because, really, she didn't have a lot to do in terms of performances. All she really had to do was just kind of stand there, look kind of suspicious or intimidating, hold up a knife, and kill someone. Whereas Vince Vaughn had dialogue and had to establish relationships with Millie's two best friends, who were freaking out because Millie is now in this body of the serial killer, and I think it's commendable. I think everyone here is tremendous. And I said this this film felt like a side sequel to the Happy Death Day franchise, because it feels like that. The cinematography, the color palette, the style, the pacing of this film is very similar. And I haven't looked up interviews, but I wouldn't be shocked if a director or if a writer said like, yeah, this is all in the same universe. All this crazy stuff that's happening, it's all happening in the same universe with everyone, which I would think that'd be pretty cool if you would just commit to it. So I really think that this film survives on the performance of Vince Vaughn alone, but there were also some really nice character moments in here when Millie in the butcher's body is in the changing room and Millie's mother actually comes by, and they've been dealing with family issues. The husband of the family passed away a year ago, and the family's been pretty much estranged since then, and they have this moment where the mother thinks that she's talking to just this random man, but this random man is actually Millie, and they kind of actually open up to each other, and that's a really touching, moving scene. It actually brought a tear to my eye, I think. It's moments like that, it's character moments like that that takes this film just being your average, Freaky Friday brain-swapping slasher film to the next level and making it something quality. Now that being said, if we look at the slasher elements, really all the kills and the horror and the slashing stuff is nothing that we haven't seen before. People dying in cryogenic freeze chambers. I mean, just go back and look at Jason X. That's all you need. Basically, the Butcher is like Michael Myers' brother, I want to say. Like, just someone that talks. They had little nods to him and how he killed his victims. Hell, even the music cues had a little bit of that element to it. I think this film is a lot of fun. It's a fun Halloween film, it's a fun horror film, and it's also a nice little family film, I think. I'm gonna give Freaky 4 out of 5 Blu-rays.
I like it a lot.
Alright everyone, now comes my favorite part of my videos where I pick which movie I'm going to be watching next, and the next one is another PayPal recommendation from Autumn Blood. I told y'all, she's been sending in just a ton of recommendations, and sending me donations too, so I greatly appreciate it. Just getting through all of them here, but this next one is a film that I've always meant to see, and thankfully she recommended it because now I can finally watch it. It's a solo film starring Tom Hardy called Locke. Never seen it before, but I've heard great things. I've heard that it's only just Tom Hardy in his car on the phone and talking to all these different people. It's a one-man show, and I love one-man shows, especially when they're done well. So we'll check it out next time. So guys, have you seen Freaky? What did you think about it? Or if you've never seen it before and you stumbled across it because of this video, then comment below, let me know what you thought about it. And as always, if you like what you see here, if you like my take on movies, then hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell so you'll know the next time I release my next movie review. So guys, I will see you next time with my review of Locke. So in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.